but let's pick up the first key theme of the day, and that is consumption. Now, Elara Securities does expect India's consumption story to remain muted and a mixed bag in the third quarter. Now, this is because of several reasons. One is inventory pile up in the fashion space, as fast fashion and premium segments are the only ones that are actually witnessing growth. Quick service restaurants are also seeing muted growth, and in Dine, as more consumers are opting for food delivery. Retail stores are also closing down, and as a result of higher demand for quick commerce, meanwhile, footfalls in theatres are also decreasing, and the ad revenue is expected to remain muted at around 5 to 6%. So the key question is there actually recovery inside when there's such a mixed bag? And to talk about this with us today, we're joined by the Senior Vice President at Elara Capital, Karan Tarani. Karan, I'll start off with this question. Q2 was a mixed bag, but one of the key takeaways was, while urban consumption did see a slowdown, we did see pockets of recovery in rural. So how do you expect consumption in urban and rural areas to pan out in the second half of FY25?
Hi. So I think the consumption is going to be mixed across various categories. I think online business models have kind of had a negative impact on many traditional business models. Take the example of cinemas, wherein OTT is somewhere impacting cinema footfalls. Take the example of QSR chains, wherein delivery is growing faster as compared to dine-in. If you take the example of the grocery stores, the modern trade, wherein quick commerce is kind of giving a tough fight to them as well. And obviously the fashion segment remains to be highly fragmented with so many players. Some are omni-channel, some are pure online players, D2C brands, everything put together. So I think there are concerns wherein online businesses are doing well. If you look at the advertising spends as well, traditional ad spends are quite muted. Digital ad spends are doing phenomenally well in terms of growth. So again, that's a similar traction here. So I think online is going to grow faster, whether it be retail, e-commerce, quick commerce, or any other segment for that matter, even delivery, food tech. That will grow in anywhere in the range of 15 to 25% in terms of where the category is, except for quick commerce, wherein the growth rate is about 60-65% because of a small penetration number. And I think traditional businesses will continue to grow at mid to low single digit kind of numbers, clearly because of the struggle that we have seen in terms of footfalls, in terms of customers adopting to traditional business model, traditional businesses doing.
Right. Karan, that's an interesting point that you make between traditional versus the modern, I wouldn't even call it modern trade, but the quick service space or quick commerce, I would put it that way. But let's break this down. When you talk about quick service restaurants as well, as your report states, again, a good same-store sales growth coming in terms of Wow Momos at around 8%. Now, the dine-in aspect is expected to remain muted. Delivery is growing, right? So if you have to look at the delivery part of it, let's say a Zomato, a Swiggy and a Zepto in the unlisted space, where is your preference between these two companies versus, say, if you have to just look at a listed restaurant space, where would your bets be?
So in terms of the QSR and the food industry, we are clearly seeing very differential growth rates, right? So if you look at the QSR chains, I think the growth rates therein has converged more in the range of 10 to 15%. And that's primarily because of two reasons. One is, certain categories like pizza are highly penetrated in terms of number of outlets. Beyond Domino's, we have, more than 12 to 14 competitors, which are, sizable in nature. Some of them are even franchise spaces. So a lot of competitive intensity has picked up, a lot of outlets have opened. We are somewhere in a situation wherein there is more supply than demand. So store growth is not going to be that aggressive in terms of number. Second thing is, of course, pizza is a delivery-friendly product. So because of high exposure to delivery, you will see pizza, reporting better SSG as compared to other categories in QSR. But if you look at the other categories of QSR, like for example, burger, fried chicken, I think there the pain in terms of SSG remains. Most of them would report maybe, just a flattish SSG in a best case scenario or a small decline as well, despite this entire festive euphoria, the festive quarter wherein things have always been very strong. And a lot of these things are coming at the cost of discount. So discounting, promotions, these are things which have been, picking up since the last 1 year. And, margins of all these players have been coming down on a consistent basis. to protect growth rates. But somewhere the growth rates are not able to kind of come as compared to expectations because of increased competitive intensity. So as far as traditional QSR is concerned, the food business, the growth rates will be more in the range of low teens or early double digit kind of numbers. Now, if you compare that in terms of a food tech segment, very clearly Zomato, Swiggy kind of platforms on their food delivery business, you could see a growth rate of anywhere between 20-25%. And obviously, even these growth rates have somewhere converged because food as a business segment has kind of penetrated, in terms of the metro markets, the non-metro markets, everything put together. The growth driver right now is coming more because of frequency. So, about 3 to 4 years back when the food tech business, just took off in a very big manner on a pan-India basis, you were seeing growth rates of even 35-40% in terms of the food revenue for aggregators like Zomato and Swiggy. That was primarily because of more user addition. I think user addition was, more than 18-20%, wherein penetration was happening. Users were getting added. There were a lot of customer acquisition costs, a lot of promotion, a lot of discounts being given. But now, as we see, the market is kind of matured. We have just two players. Discounts have kind of come off. Players are focusing on profitability. So now a bigger lever for growth is frequency, right? So clearly frequency is going to see strong growth because of loyalty programs on both Zomato and Swiggy. And that will drive, you can say 40 to 50% of the incremental growth that these companies are trying to target right now. So very clearly, I think still there is ample room that for the next 2 to 3 years, you will see that the online business side and the food business outperforms the traditional business side by anywhere between 1.4 to 1.5 times.